We're gonna be chill today. The last video with Bonnibel was an absolute wreck. I'm gonna do an update on her soon. Hopefully this week. Oh my. We're gonna stay very calm so that she doesn't freak out and I can just talk about her updates. We're also at a table again. I covered it in acoustic foam this time because the last video when I used the table, the audio was just terrible. Also, this piece is turned the wrong way. I was gonna fix it, but I figured I would bother you by keeping it disoriented. Okay, this is the 5th video I'm doing on Bonnibel. And believe it or not, there's still a lot more that we can talk about with her. But because I've already done 4 videos on her, it's possible I'll repeat myself back soon a couple times, so bear with me if you've seen all the videos. We gotta give a rundown for the people that don't know her as well. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're staying calm today. We're staying calm. But Bonnibel is only going to stay calm if you buy the cactus merch. It's still available at GoHerpingShop.com. If you don't know the story, check the video out and buy it. It's actually a sale. We can get a poster for just $5 instead of $14. Add the poster and whatever else you're getting to your order. Use code POSTER and you'll get it for $5. Ah. Everything's fine. Ow, ow. Okay, we're going swaddle. We're going swaddle. Let's make some sushi. Oh yeah, sushi time. It's sushi time. It's sushi time. Calm. It's a calm video. Okay, it's a burrito actually. Oh yeah. Okay, I think this will work. So I should have my phone. I'm gonna pull up the old videos. As I pull this up, long story short, Bonnibel is a Savannah monitor I got off Craigslist a year and a half ago for 20 bucks. She came with a huge enclosure, which you'll see in this old video. So let's check it out. The size of the enclosure, some say should be a minimum of 6 feet, some say minimum of 8 feet, which by the way, this is not gonna be a permanent enclosure. So the people on Craigslist got it from someone else. They tried to kind of rescue it and they built this like really janky enclosure. It was living in their garage with like some really weird heating. There were some crazy weird bugs in it. Like it was just an open garage. It was not great and she wasn't doing great either. It's so crazy how much she has changed. So Bonnibel was pretty small for her age, but she was very young anyway, so I was really hoping I could get her weight up because Savannah monitors can often get to 2.5 to 3.5 feet depending on sex. I wasn't sure what she was when I got her, but have now confirmed she's a female. So I was a little disappointed because I wanted the biggest lizard possible I could get out of a Savannah monitor. And then she continued to not get any bigger. She just stayed the exact same size and she would just bulldoze food. She was going through tons and tons of dubias, superworms, mealworms, waxworms, no crickets because I hate crickets. And then other things like some rodents, some scrambled eggs, all sorts of things. Actually, a lot of the B-roll or footage you'll see over this video is her eating scrambled eggs, and that is not a usual thing. It's actually the first time I've given her scrambled eggs in months, but I thought I'd give her a treat and she really enjoyed it. So not a staple, don't let them live off scrambled eggs. But basically with all this protein and fat and everything, I was sure she would start gaining weight at some point, and she didn't. She was very frail, pretty weak, always terrified. You could just kind of see it in her eyes. She looked mortified all the time, especially in those old videos. Dehydrated, underweight, all sorts of things. So after getting this animal that I was wanting for years, I was like, this is gonna be awesome. And then a few months after that, I made a video called Do I Regret Getting a Savannah Monitor? Where she's also swaddled in that video. Hey, it's still working. But the problem in this video is I do not have Epic Cactus merch available at GoHerpingShop.com. So in this video, she's basically the same. She's definitely no longer dehydrated. She's a little bit stronger. She's less sad. She went kind of more from terrified to angry, which I think that's better. I'd rather be angry than terrified. But in this video, you can also see her eating some insects and stuff, and she had a crazy good diet. She also, I don't know if that video was before or after building her huge enclosure. So basically she's been moved throughout multiple houses because I've moved since getting her. And she was in a temporary 40 in that old video, and then we built this big enclosure, and now she's out of that enclosure again because the enclosure had some problems, and I still haven't gotten to fixing it because, I don't know. It's actually being used right now for a redfoot tortoise that we have hanging in there. He loves it more than Bonnibel appreciated it, at least. At this point, Bonnibel still did not gain any weight. She was still very tiny and still very angry no matter how much I worked with her. And so then I finally did take her to the vet. I paid way too much for blood work, which wasn't even necessary, and then I got a fecal. I could have just gotten a $30 fecal, but instead I paid $300 for blood work. But basically that fecal told us that she did have parasites, because Savannah monitors are essentially never bred. They're basically all just wild caught and imported from Africa to wherever people buy them. So that's why I got her off Craigslist, because I knew if I got one from a pet store, it would, one, not be rescuing it, it's just supporting some random importer instead, and that's pretty lame. But parasites is very common with wild animals, because nature is scary. So then I got some antibiotics. It was really easy. He just made her drink it, and nothing really happened. She didn't gain any weight. I was like, I just spent $400 at the vet, and she's the same. But then, after a few months, she began to gain some weight, and I was like amazed, because she wasn't a skinny, sad looking thing. Can I pet you? You look very pettable right now. She's giving me a terrible look. No, stay in your burrito. Do not come out. Oh, she just escaped into the burrito. Where'd she go? So yeah, after a few months of being complete of her antibiotics, nothing had really been happening, but then she started to gain weight, and I couldn't tell if it was an illusion or not, but I think she was growing in length too. And now I can definitely confirm she did indeed grow in length. And so this is kind of the exciting update overall. She's not gonna be a tiny shrimp. Even if she's a medium-sized shrimp, it won't be as shrimpy as this. She's now this. Woo. And it's very weird seeing animals change, because you kind of forget how much they change without looking back. Like day to day, you don't see any difference. When she started growing, I was like, yeah, she looks a little different. Nothing too crazy. And then I found an old image of her, of like a couple months after I got her or something. And this is old Bonnibel. This is new Bonnibel. The biggest factor for me, the first thing I noticed, is her legs. They're chunky. They're better than my arms. And that was really exciting, because it was really showing that she was putting on muscle and weight, and all sorts of things that the parasites weren't eating from her. And you can just tell from other parts of the image, her neck is filled out. She has a lot more energy in her eyes. They're more, I don't know, they feel more clear, less sad. Again, more just passionate about her anger. And right now she's very tired, because she's gone through a lot today, which is something that we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, that was the most exciting thing. So after posting that Instagram picture, it was very cool to share the fact that she isn't going to be like she was at the start. So even though in the video when I said I don't regret getting the Savannah monitor, I said I don't, but I didn't expect it, I still don't regret it. Okay, what did I say in the regret video? Because I did kind of regret it. I can't remember if I really said that or not. But either way, I regret it a little bit less now that I am seeing change. Because let's face it, if I wanted a lizard that was staying this size, I would have just gotten another bearded dragon. Can I set her down? So the fact that she's growing tells us a few things. One, that parasites is no joke, and that's obvious. But it was really my first time actually dealing with parasites hands-on, and that was really unique to see just what the treatment did. Still, it's kind of weird because they didn't actually know what parasite it was. They were like, it kind of looks like this thing, so we'll give it this that usually works with that thing, give her that, see if it works. And it did. I don't know. I don't like being told by the doctor that they don't know what it is and that they're just guessing of what they're giving her. But there's just something so weird, like what is it out in the wild with animals that have, if parasites are so common in the wild, like how are they even alive? Why are they not all little shrimp? Are there even full-size monitors? Like how common can they be? Because I'm sure it's easy to spread those parasites. But luckily, we're sanitary in this room. Everything is cleaned quite well and picked up after the animals, so nothing had spread to anyone else. And like most people say, even if you buy an animal from wherever, like a pet store or a breeder or whatever, you should still quarantine it for a certain amount of time. And she was about as quarantined as you could get, because at the first house she was at, she was not only on a different in a different enclosure and away from the animals, but she was on a whole separate floor from the animals. So that was like true quarantining. The problem was the parasites were too minuscule to actually notice that there was something wrong with her at the time, because I thought she was just very malnourished. But there are still some different unique things that are pretty consistent with her. One being her shed. We're very good in this room about having very good sheds on the animals, but Bonnibel, I know, this is the 5th video I've done on her, and I've said it every video. She is always shedding. Even when she wasn't growing, it was just constantly, as soon as you got the shed off, a new layer just started coming off. And that is still the case today, even more so because she is actually growing and it makes sense for her to shed. So, why do I move my hand so much? So right now you can see, well, you might actually not be able to see, but there's these big patches on her back, and it looks kind of cool actually. It's like this weird mosaic, and it is very hard to get this off of them. It's almost as hard as like the iguana that we have here, and she has big scales. Usually it's harder on the animals with small scales, like a baby ball python or something. If we get like a baby in and it's covered in stuck shed, that's way harder because the scales are so tiny compared to if we get an adult in that has stuck shed. And then her head, the scales are essentially connected to her skull. Like there's no loose skin around it. It's just, they're straight on the skull. And so it's much harder to kind of like dig in there and get them out. Thankfully, she doesn't like it, but it's not uncomfortable or painful for her. It probably feels super weird. Of course, we do try and bathe her. Like she was actually bathed today, right after she ate her huge meal of eggs. And she still loves baths. So swaddling and baths have been a very consistent thing. And up until this day, speaking of bathing, one of the huge things is the fact that people still never agree on the husbandry. I'm not surprised anymore. It's inevitable. It's gonna come, I know. But that still doesn't make it any less annoying, I guess. Just the fact that different experts on the subject give such weirdly different information, and they seem to work for different people. Like, just one example with the baths is some people say you should never bathe them, that it's stressful, it's useless, it's uncomfortable for them. And then others say, like the vet, for example, said I need to bathe her at least like 3 times a week or else she's gonna become unhealthy. So I don't do either of this. I didn't follow any advice. I basically bathe her just intermittently. I basically just bathe her when she seems to want or need it. Like, if I want to shoot some stuff with her, just give her a bath. It kind of sedates her almost. If she has some shed that just really will not come off on its own, just pop her in the bath. If you have to clean her enclosure out, no need to just like shove her in an empty tub while she's freaking out. Just put her in a bath and it's fine. But for the most part, it's really helped. And I used to literally do it in the bath, like in the bathtub. And I would, to bond with her, I would get in the bath with her. Like it was only like 6 inches deep and I was just in my clothes sitting there. That didn't help any bonding. I don't think it made any difference. I think it just made her see me very weirdly and probably uncomfortable. So I don't suggest bathing with the monitor unless you really want to. It's probably not gonna help the situation at hand. But it's also certainly a thing. I think I've become more confident with handling her. It has helped with her because she no longer bites really. It's very rare that she really comes at you and strikes or whatever. When I first got her, she was just constantly biting. I had to use gloves just to not bleed on a daily basis. But now she just hisses and then eventually gives up. Probably because she's digesting so much food now. But like just this, leaving her on the table, this would not be working. Like I'm literally touching her back and she doesn't care. I'm still not used to this. I think the antibiotic or whatever they were to treat the parasites, they not only fixed her internally, but she was probably uncomfortable and she probably did not feel well, which was probably fueling her attitude towards us. Because although she still has it, she just seems happier overall. So that's good to see, and I didn't realize how much effect a parasite could have on an animal other than just internally compressing their growth ability. That sounds medical, right? But seeing her jump around the enclosure, I was trying to feed her and film it in the enclosure, but you just couldn't see anything. But she eagerly jumps towards the tongs. We basically always tong feed her. Unless it's worms, they just go in a bowl. But like dubias, rodents, everything, it's all tong fed, even the eggs. And usually we can get her to run around and get lots of enrichment and exercise at the same time. So we're still not to the point where she's like a burrito dragon. She can't just, well, she can sit on your desk if she's in a burrito. But if she's not one to just chill. If you leave the room, she'll probably run away to a corner and start hissing when you come back. So she's not to beardy status, but I didn't get her because I wanted a beardy. Like I said, if I did, I would have gotten a beardy. With her current attitude, I would now feel more comfortable with her getting full size, because before I was like, if she actually grows to 3 feet and she's acting like this, she's gonna rip my hand off. And she looks so dead right now and so tired. I think I'm filming this at 10:30 at night, and I had her out quite a bit before, feeding her and getting video of her and bathing her and all sorts of things. So it's nice to see that she can express more than one personality or emotion, I guess. Like she can be kind of rambunctious and energetic, but other times she can be chill and doesn't mind you as much. So I don't know, it's very human-like. Like they don't always fit one one sort of idea or personality. Like a ball python, I always use ball pythons as general examples because they're just so generic as much as I love them. But like a ball python doesn't really get tired. They're pretty consistent all throughout the day, all throughout the week or year or whatever. They're very predictable. But I think a lot of lizards, especially Bonnibel here, is not like that. She really has different parts of the day. She has parts of the day where she likes to bask or hide or whatever. She knows when food's coming now and certain things like that. So that's really fun to see. Oh, and something else really interesting. This is the most unorganized video, but her claws. She was missing claws when I got her, and she actually lost another one that was kind of like dead when I got her. She lost it when she was here. But they grew back. It turns out with a quick Google search that they do in fact grow back. Okay, burrito, we're back to the burrito. But the fact that they've grown back and stayed healthy now is really cool to see. So there's these little like baby nails that are obviously smaller and like new and lighter colored. So that's really cool because I never knew that was possible. I don't know how I never knew that, but that's pretty exciting to see too. But it's just so crazy how huge and beefy her arms are now. Or legs, I guess. That's definitely the biggest difference that I can see. But this is Bonnibel, the Savannah monitor. Gone through lots of changes, and I thought there was enough to kind of give you a substantial update because I just think it's so cool that she is in fact growing. If I can, don't bite me. How is there more? I don't understand where it's coming from.